when it comes to driving combinations, right? Driving vehicle safety. When driving tractor trailers, you have or 18 wheelers, right? Combination vehicles, there are roller risk, and you want to keep the cargo near to the ground as possible, right? And drive around turns very slowly because it's a big vehicle. You're not just driving a straight truck, you're driving essentially two vehicles connected together, right? So also when it comes to, you want to load the center, right, of your rig. So the center means the if the load is heavier on one side or the other, you want to balance it out by putting it in the center and spread out your cargo as much as possible. Now, of course, also another thing is you want to steer gently, okay? Now, because you want to follow far enough as well, right? You don't want to make sudden movements either, because given it's a combination vehicle, you want to spread out, right? You want to have far enough space so you can have at least 1 second for each 10 feet. So to keep in mind of the spacing, trucks, commercial vehicles need a longer space gap in order to be able to stop safely. Now, some of the things keep in mind when braking early, right, is that when you have a light load, brakes give poor traction because combination vehicles, tractor trailers, they're made to have weight contained in them in order to really, for the brakes, for the vehicle to actually work properly. So when you're having a light load, you want to keep in mind that the brakes not only give poor traction, right, but it really makes it very easy for the wheels to lock up. Therefore, the trailer could swing out and strive or strike other vehicles, and your tractor can jackknife very quickly in that. So that's why you really have to keep in mind when you have a light load, the trailer can swing out and strike other vehicles, and that will end up in a jackknife. Okay. Now, of course, when it comes to bobtails is just same terminology for tractors. You want to remember that it takes longer to stop, right, than a semi trailer that is loaded. So lightweight, and you're probably wondering how if it's a lighter vehicle, how come that takes longer to stop than if it's fully loaded? Well, because it's built, the way combination vehicles are built and designed, they are designed to handle heavier pressure. So when you're slowing down, having heavy weight will allow you to slow down. But otherwise, since you have lighter weight and it's just a tractor you're driving, it the brakes makes it very difficult for it to really slow down as much versus if you have a big weight. But what you need to know is you want to allow more following distance so you can be able to brake ahead of time. And of course, rearward amplification means that the rear trailer is twice as likely to turn over than the tractor. Now, of course, this is a diagram showing you that the larger size of the combination vehicle and the weight of it, the more that rearward amplification effect will come. So meaning amplification rearward, meaning that jackknives, the trailer would tend to turn over very quickly. So just to keep in mind for that. Now, when it comes to railroad crossings, you want to make sure, right, that the trailer, right, you want to make sure and keep in mind that the trailers can get stuck on raised crossings. I mean, as you can see in these diagrams, when you're crossing over the railroad tracks, you have a large trailer. Sometimes it's 30, 50, 50 feet trailer. And with all of that, depending on where you're going, you really have to keep in mind that also the single axle tractor pulling a long trailer with it, right? The landing gear is set to accommodate it. So in other words, if you do get stuck on the tracks, you must get out of the vehicle and away from the tracks. And you have to check for any, signal post, any housing crossings, anywhere where you can be able to call 911 or any other emergency contact. So that way, and give them the location of where the truck is, give them your DOT number, right, if posted, so that way safety precautions can be met. When it comes to renting trailer skids, now the best way is you see it in your mirrors, right? And you have to remember too that once the trailer swings out of your lane, it's really difficult to prevent a jackknife. So some of the techniques to keep in mind also is when you're using the brake, you want to release the brakes, right? In order to regain control of the vehicle, right? And you do not want to use the trailer handbrake, right? Because when you think about it, the trailer handbrake is for the trailer, right? And when you think, and to be honest, the trailer actually is the one that actually caused the skid in the first place. So you do not want to use the trailer handbrake. And remember, once the trailer wheels grit up the road again, right, or have grip of the road, the trailer will start to follow the tractor and it will straighten out. Now, that is definitely something to keep in mind. And this is also going to be on the learner's test as well for combinations. So definitely remember this and keep that in mind as well. Now, when it comes to turning the tractor trailer wide, right? When you turn the corner, the rear wheels and front wheels allow different paths, and that's called off tracking or cheating, right? So as you can see in the right hand diagram, you can see how when you're turning, what you want to do is you want to steer, right? You want to have enough, right? You want to steer the front end wide enough, right, around that corner in order to avoid the rear and running over that curve. So in order to prevent from getting over the curve, you need to steer wide enough. And of course, this shows you different ways of how to do that, right? The best and the correct way of how to steer. When it comes to backing the trailer, right? This is important. The biggest concept is that you know how with a trailer or not a trailer with a straight truck, when you back up, if you try and go left, you turn the wheel left. If you're trying to, turn the wheel right, you go right. Well, it's kind of like the opposite when it comes to the backing up a tractor trailer because you're essentially when you put it in reverse, if you're trying to, if you want to go right, the trailer has to go right. But in order for the trailer to go right, right, you have to turn the wheel to the left. So that way the trailer will go to the right. And then once the trailer goes to the right, then you follow and start turning the wheel to the right, right? Same thing with the other side. If you want the trailer to go left, you have to turn your wheel first to the right. Then when the trailer turns to the left, then you start, following that trailer and turning your truck to the left. So if you're trying to go right, turn wheel to the left. If you're trying to go left, turn the wheel to the right. That's the best way to remember that. And you want to keep in mind that when you're doing this, you want to look at your path, use mirrors on both sides. Very important. I mean, my dad always tell me, like, if you can't read your mirrors, you can't drive because that is crucial. And you want to back slowly and you want to correct drift immediately as well and as well as pulling forward. Keep in mind now there are different types of backing, but what you do have to remember is the steps and what to keep in mind when you're backing a trailer. When it comes to the air brakes, now a combination vehicle with air brakes, right? First, we have to talk about, well, what are the parts, right? In order to really understand how all of this works. So on tractor trailers, you have the trailer hand valve, right? So you use that to apply the trailer brakes, right? That's independent of the towing vehicle brakes. And it's usually a push or pull type of valve that's near the driver that supplies air to the trailer brake system through that supply line, right? And that's the trailer hand valve. Now, the tractor protection valve that keeps the air in the tractor or the truck braking system, right? Should the trailer break away or develop a bad leak. And it's controlled by the trailer air supply control valve. So the trailer air supply is the trailer. Okay, so what to keep in mind as well is the tractor protection valve, which is the trailer air brakes, that will close automatically, right? When the air pressure is low between approximately 20 to 45 psi. So that emergency trailer brake will pop out between 20 to 45 psi. And again, the trailer air supply control. So it's used to control that tractor protection valve that we mentioned earlier. And the valve will pop out when the air pressure drops approximately 20 to 45 psi. Remember this. Emergency. The emergency position is used to shut the air off and to put on the trailer emergency brakes. And you have to remember that the tractor protection valve controls, right, or the emergency valves on older vehicles, right, may not operate automatically. So usually there may be a lever, whether it's a knob or the normal position is used for pulling a trailer. Okay, so but just keep in mind the emergency position is used to shut off the air, right, and put on the trailer emergency brakes. Meaning that the emergency position, when you pull that trailer out, that means the emergency brakes are activated. Now, when it comes to the lines, okay, read in between the lines, but you have different types of lines. So you have two airlines, right? One is the service line, which is blue. The other is the emergency line, which is red. Now you also have a third line, but that is not an airline. That's a electrical line, and that's used to connect the electricity from the trailer to the tractor. Now keep in mind that the service airline, which is blue, that's the airline, right? So that way, the trailer, the air can go to the service brakes, while the emergency airline, which is red, goes to the trailer emergency brake. Okay. Now, when it comes to the hose and couplers, we want to keep in mind that the couplers devices are only used to connect the service and emergency airlines from the truck or tractor to the trailer. So, with my correction, right, that the electrical line is from the truck or tractor to the trailer, okay, because you're you're connecting the air supply from the truck, the tractor itself, to the trailer. Now, when it comes to the trailer air tanks, it's filled by the emergency supply line from that tractor, and they provide air pressure used to operate the trailer brakes. Air tanks, air supply contains air tank. So those are ways to remember that. Now, when it comes to shut off valves, those are used in the service and supply airlines at the back of the trailers, and that's used to be able to tow other vehicles. And the valves permit closing the airlines off when another trailer is not being towed. Now, remember, you got the trailer service, the parking, and the emergency brakes. Okay. Now, as we mentioned in the air brakes in week 2, that you know that all of it it is the same thing. It's just it's different names when it comes to different functions. Now, the trailer service, parking brake, or emergency brakes, they are all three basic braking systems. Okay. Now, ABS, anti-lock braking system, prevents wheels from locking up and improves control of the vehicle during hard braking. Now, it doesn't mean that it doesn't decrease stopping distance. Now, of course, here's another diagram view of these main parts, such as the foot valve, right? And the air reservoir tanks. All of these components together, that is very crucial and important. We mentioned anti-lock air braking systems in week 1 with general knowledge, and week 2 in air brakes. So this is just a reminder of the anti-lock braking systems, okay? And of course, remember that the air ABS on the tractor or only on the trailer, it gives you more control of the vehicle during braking. And when you maintain steering control, there is a less chance of jackknife. Okay? And just remember, backing with ABS, you only use only the braking force that is necessary, right? And you want to remember that. Now, when it comes to the anti-lock braking systems, again, you brake as you always have, okay? Just remember, as you slow down, you monitor your tractor and trailer, and you back off the brakes when it's safe to do so, in order to keep control of it, right? In order to keep control, right? We want to tend to brake, but sometimes you have to ease off the brake pedal and just kind of like maintain, and you tend to have more control that way. Now, the trailer is less likely to swing out, but if you lose the steering control or if it start a jackknife, you got to let up off the brakes. Okay, don't hold the brakes, just let it off. The steps to coupling tractor semi trailers crucial. As you can see here, you have the names of all of these parts. Now, just remember these steps of how you couple the trailer. And just like repetition, the more you see it, the more you can be able to see these in order. So now, okay, you probably were saying, all right, I know how to I see, I see a BT trainer, okay, couple, but what about, uncoupling? Well, don't worry. We're going to go over that now. Just remember those steps, those orders, right? And of course, that definitely won't take time. But once you remember, okay, it's a number system. 10 steps to uncoupling. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. And as you go ahead, say this to yourself. This will definitely help remember, and it will help you retain information very, very well. Now, of course, you do have to remember when it comes to coupling a pin hook as well. So 4 steps to coupling that: inspect the pin hook, unlock that lock pin, unlock the lock pin, open the latch. 3, lower the drawbar into place. And then 4, you want to lock the pin hook. What is, a pin hook, and how are you using that? How is best to use it? Now, of course, the steps of uncoupling Pintle hook, very crucial as well. Now, when it comes to coupling a drawbar, now you want to safely lock the screw, and you want to remove the safety lock screw and rotate the safety cover bar. Now, remember, these are the 7 steps to coupling it, right? And this is a diagram that shows what are the parts and how it's being connected. Just remember, right, that when it comes to coupling a drawbar, there are 7 steps, and you want to remember those steps. And when it also comes to uncoupling a drawbar, the 4 steps is you want to turn the trailer brake on, you want to remove the cover and loosen screws, you want to rotate the safety cover bar and lift that trailer drawbeam, and then 4th step is to lock safely, right, screw, and tighten the self-locking nut. So, of course, this diagram shows you what are the parts and how are they connected. When it comes to coupling a gooseneck hitch, okay, remember that step one, you want to open the latch and lubricate the gooseneck ball, right? Two, you want to position the coupler and latch the clamp. Step three, you want to attach the safety chains. Step four, connect the trailer light wiring. And then step five is to lower the stow, the trailer jacks. That's the steps, right, to coupling and then uncoupling a gooseneck hitch. Now, remember, the first step to remove it is to remove it safely, right? The pin and clip. Two, you want to rotate the handle and raise that trailer off a ball, right? And the third step is to install that safety pin. Now, when it comes to additional things to keep in mind of, right, you have the fifth wheel, right? You have the air and electrical lines to the trailer, the sliding fifth wheel, and of course, these are the landing gear. This is the landing gear. So remember that fully raised, you want to make sure there's no missing parts, not bent or otherwise damaged, and you want to crank the handle in place and secure, right? And if power operated, no air or hydraulic leaks. Now, of course, as well, you also want to check that the air flows when you're checking the brakes. You want to check that the air flows to all of the trailers, okay? Now, of course, you want to use the trailer hand, using the trailer hand brake. That provides the air to the service line, okay? Now, of course, you open the emergency line, shut off the valve at the rear of the very last trailer. And you should hear an air escaping that will show the entire system is being charged. So when it comes to testing the tractor protection valve, you want to allow the air to fully charge, turn off the engine, release the air, the trailer air from the system by pressing the brake pedal several times, right? Now, the tractor protection valve should move and the emergency position when the PSI drops to an unsafe level, which is anything below approximately 60 PSI. Now, when it comes to testing emergency brakes, you want to pull gently on the trailer with the tractor to check that the trailer emergency brakes are on. And when you're testing the service brakes, right, you want to check that the normal air pressure, you want to release the parking brakes by pushing it in. You want to pull forward slowly and apply the trailer brakes. And with the hand control valve, right, and you use the hand control valve if it's equipped.
This video was sponsored by BET Life Services and CDL for Life. Listen, if you really enjoyed the value of this video, just click comment what you liked. And then if you really want to get more updates on more future videos, life-changing videos, then go ahead and click the subscribe button so that way you can be able to be updated on the latest videos. Now, there's a free offer that is underneath of this video. You got to click the link to get it because it may not be available. BET Life Services and CDL for Life is offering this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for you to change your life for the better by giving away bonuses that's worth hundreds of dollars or more. But the link is down below, and it's not guaranteed that it's going to be there the next time you see it. And it's only going to be available to those who take action, and it's only available for a certain amount of people. So if you want to get access to this life-changing opportunity to change your life, click down below so you can get instant access to the free bonuses down below. So go ahead and do that, and I'll see you in the next video.